Today I have something special to share with you as we look at the pre-release of the D920 Cordless Primary Light from OrcaTorch. You may have seen a glimpse of this early last year if you saw Gus on the Blue World YouTube clip, who showed a primary torch on a Goodman handle, or if you're at a trade show like DEMA, or you may have seen it on an OrcaTorch post. This is the first cordless primary dive torch from OrcaTorch aimed at technical and cave divers. The light has a massive 5000 lumens output that can be switched down to 2400, 850 or 350 lumens to increase the runtime. The body is a stocky 62mm in diameter and 167mm long, excluding the handle. It comes with a titanium alloy switch with a locking function and a battery indicator LED. The torch weighs 725 grams without a handle and has a short charge time of 2.5 hours. The light comes with a Goodman handle and a lantern-style handheld grip. This light is on loan as a pre-production unit, so it doesn't come with a kit as shown here. This unit will be returned after testing. Included in the OrcaTorch case is the D920 light, the wall outlet charger with magnetic connector, the Goodman handle, the handheld grip, a lanyard, O-rings, manual and warranty card. The handheld grip is easy to hold and it balances the light very well. It has finger grooves to provide secure grip. The Goodman handle is fully adjustable and is the same as that found on the D630 canister light. To remove the handheld grip, remove the 2 cap screws at the base of the handle with an Allen key. The hand grip will remove from the light, leaving the base feature attached. Spring apart the base feature to remove it from the light. For the Goodman handle, there are mounting holes at the front of the light. Align the Goodman handle to the light and use the cap screws provided with spring washers to retain the Goodman handle to the light using the Allen key. Ensure both cap screws are tight. Adjust the opening of the Goodman handle by loosening the large thumb screw and tighten it when in the correct position. You can use either hand to hold the light and you can widen the grip if you're using thick gloves. I think it's worthwhile to compare this light with other types of torches people may be familiar with. I'll be comparing it against the D710 and the D511. This side-by-side comparison will give you a good feel for the size difference. The D710 is the most popular dive torch suited for general diving. Most divers would start off with a torch of this size, which usually fits in the palm of the hand. The D511 is substantially larger and brighter. Cave divers would have typically used something of this size for their backup light. The D511 has been my dive light of choice for the past 5 years. The D920 is substantially larger than both the D710 and the D511. This new light has been designed as an alternative to the D630 canister light. Both use the same Goodman handle and the light head diameter is a similar size, as well as both having a similar output. The canister light has the cable to manage and the battery pack to stow. But the head unit is smaller and lighter than the new D920. The cordless nature of the D920 does appeal to me, as there is one less hose or cable to route, especially if you're dealing with multiple gas cylinders and multiple regulators. To operate the light, there is a titanium alloy switch on the rear of the light. Depress it to switch through the 4 output modes. You can also lock the light off by depressing and holding the switch down until the light flashes twice, to avoid accidentally turning the unit on while in transit. The Goodman handle can be positioned in front of the light to protect it from damage when in transit or when not in use. Probably the only thing I didn't like with the Goodman handle is that the thumb screw can be wound off the thread. It would be great if the thumb screw had a captive design. This issue relates more to the Goodman handle than to the light. The magnetic charging cable is simple to use. It snaps onto the charging point on the light. The battery charger LED is red when charging and turns green when fully charged. Now to compare the beam from the D710 on the left, the D511 in the middle and the D920 on the right. As with all videos, it's hard to show how bright the D920 is in comparison to the other dive lights. It's also worth noting the non-circular pattern generated by the D511's 3 LEDs. The D630 canister light is on the left and the D920 is on the right. Once again, it's worth noting the non-circular beam of the D630 with its 5 LEDs. I found that the handheld configuration did not easily provide a location to add a bolt snap. I've squeezed one in the gap here, but it'd be nice to have a specific location to add a bolt snap when using the handheld grip. With the handheld grip removed, there are two holes that you can tie a bolt snap to. Now let's have a look at the specifications of each dive light I've been comparing. The D920 has the brightest output at 5000 lumens and will run for an hour and a half, which is enough for at least 2 dives. Next we look at beam angle. The D920 has a 9-degree beam angle and has a good sized corona to help illuminate a wider area beyond the spot. The D920 uses a single LED and has an even circular beam pattern. Cave divers are more interested in runtime than in brightness, seeing that caves are often totally dark. The D920 can run for 35 hours at a decent output of 350 lumens. Now onto the most important part of the review, diving the light underwater. I've taken the D920 on some of my typical diving, from shallow reefs to deeper wall dives and on hunting dives for southern rock lobsters, otherwise known as crayfish. On this first dive I am at 15 meters looking for some lobsters. In the broad daylight the D920 is still effective. And if you're wondering why I have double bolt snaps, I must admit I was a bit paranoid about accidentally losing this on my first dive. And while this is on loan from OrcaTorch, I didn't really want to have to explain how I lost their beast of a torch. I have since removed the front bolt snap, gaining more confidence in stowing the light away, and I only use the rear bolt snap now. Going through this passage you can see the advantage of the Goodman handle as I grab each side and pull myself through without worrying about the dive light. Hopefully these shots will show you that in broad daylight the D920 has a long reach. This allows me to cover more ground and not have to go too close to each overhang to inspect for lobsters. This is a deeper wall dive where I'm still keeping an eye out for lobsters. But it's also a scenic dive, taking in the terrain as well as having some fun with the swim through. At 30 meters deep, it's darker than before and the light is more effective. We came across a lobster. We keep the light off the lobster to ensure we don't spook it. A nice sized specimen for sure. I have swapped to the handheld configuration of the dive light. It is a very comfortable way to hold the light. Here I am at 25 meters. I've come across this old ship anchor standing upright against the wall. This next dive was in extremely dirty conditions. The camera makes it look a lot nicer than it actually was. There was a lot of sand stirred up and a lot of particulate in the water. Keeping your eye on your buddy and spotting lobsters was a bit of a challenge in these conditions. But I was impressed at how the 5000 lumens cut through the haze and made the hunt easier. I don't think a smaller dive light would have coped well, making the hunt slower, forcing you to have a closer look in the ledges. I suppose the proof is in the pudding. This lobster was easy to see and it came back home with me. If you use a large computer on the same hand as the light, you may need to push the computer further up your arm to ensure that the light does not clash with it. If we look at what else is currently available on the market in cordless primary lights, we find there's not much at present. DiveRite has the FX40, but it is approximately half the output of the OrcaTorch D920. But it should be noted that the light is smaller and lighter if that is critical. Halcyon have the Flare EXP, but they are being cute, quoting their light output in lux instead of lumens, so it makes it hard to compare. But I would hazard a guess it would be similar to the DiveRite output given the size of the battery. So to summarise my review and give you a better understanding of my opinion, it might help you to understand what kind of diver I am and how I would use this dive light. I have logged well over 600 dives and I'm qualified for 40 meters of depth. I dive for fun on wrecks, reefs and enjoy lobster hunts. This is my hobby and I'm not a dive professional. I'm currently undertaking the TDI Advanced Nitrox and Decompression Procedures training. or tech diving. I switched from single tank back mount to side mount over a year ago to enable better access when hunting lobsters and to give me the ability to carry multiple tanks for doing tech diving. I have no desire for twin back mounted tanks or for cave diving. I have considered the OrcaTorch D630 canister light for some time. The unit is well designed and would fit neatly with my Hollis Katana 2 side mount BCD. The pros. The biggest pro for the OrcaTorch D920 is that it's cordless. While some people don't mind the cord, others find the cord just an extra piece of kit that they have to manage. For those not familiar with side mount, there's already a fair amount of hoses and equipment in your chest area to manage. For me, I would choose the D920 over the D630 for that reason alone. The brightness of this light is the second reason that it appeals to me. I am glad that OrcaTorch pushed the boundaries of what this unit could produce. They could have been like their competitors and designed a light that was smaller with only half the output. But I appreciate every bit of the 5000 lumens output that this torch offers, especially in murky water. While the runtime is ample for me on the highest setting, I do appreciate that they've included various output modes to increase runtime for cave divers, etc. The magnetic charging system is the simplest I've used and the charge time is very quick. The cons. The most glaring issue of this light, especially when comparing against the D630, is the size of the head unit and the weight of the light in your hand. I was somewhat shocked and concerned when I first opened the box and felt the weight of the unit, as well as seeing its girth. It's quite a large comparison to the head of the D630. I wondered if this would be an issue when diving. I have dived this light a lot with the Goodman handle and the handheld grip. Underwater, the weight is not noticeable. The light is extremely well balanced with the handheld grip, and the Goodman handle is very practical. The back of the light did clash with my shearwater computer, so I did have to push the computer further up my arm to give the light clearance. Repositioning the computer hasn't caused me any issues, and I have adapted to its new position. My preference is for the Goodman handle. Having the use of both hands is extremely beneficial. The only other issue I noted was the thumb screw on the Goodman handle is not captive. This is an issue with the Goodman handle and not necessarily with this light. Conclusion. Cordless lights won't be for everyone. I'm sure there'll be some DIR purists that will protest the deviation from the tried and true canister lights. While there have been cordless lights in the marketplace for some time now, I think this is the first serious alternative to a canister light, being able to meet or outperform their corded cousins. This is a pre-production unit on loan for review, and it is scheduled to be launched in February of 2025. There will be variations due to the exchange rate, but the manufacturer's suggested retail price for the D920 will be approximately $694.95 Australian, which will place it in between OrcaTorch's D620 and D630 canister lights. For me, this light suits my needs for my current diving and future tech diving requirements, and my preference would be for the freedom of the cordless D920.